James Harden. James Harden. What the hell was this? The Philadelphia 76ers get eliminated on their home court by the Miami Heat in Game 6 after failing to keep up with the Heat's intensity in the second half of this game. What made this worse was James Harden took 2 shots in the entire second half. 2 shots. Once again, Philadelphia is heading home after another disappointing second round loss. This is not what the Sixers expected when they traded for James Harden, yet here they are. Sixers fans, I think it's safe for you guys to say the James Harden trade was a huge mistake. Yes, you wanted to get rid of Ben Simmons, but to trade for James Harden was a huge mistake because this guy failed to live up to the expectations that was put on him. He had a prime opportunity to do so. Joel Embiid suffered an injury in Game 6 of the first round against the Toronto Raptors that took him out of Games 1 and 2. That already put them at a disadvantage. But this would have given James Harden an opportunity to do what Sixers fans thought he would be able to do. James Harden was brought here to be the second star for the Sixers. If anything happened to Joel Embiid, James Harden was supposed to be there to help carry this team. So in Games 1 and 2 against the Miami Heat on their home court, the Sixers were supposed to be able to respond on the road because of what James Harden was going to do. What did James Harden do in those 2 games on the road in Miami? In Game 1, James Harden played 35 minutes. He shot 5 of 13 from the field and gave you 16 points. They lost by double digits. In Game 2, you expected to see a better performance from James Harden. And technically, it's a bit better, but it's not what you expect from James Harden. In Game 2, James Harden played 41 minutes. He was 6 of 15 from the field and gave you 20 points. That is unacceptable. What makes those 2 performances glaring is the fact that Joel Embiid was not there. James Harden was supposed to be the guy to show up in those 2 games and carry them. Whether or not they won the game, James Harden was supposed to show up and hold down the fort. He failed to do so. 16 points in Game 1, 20 points in Game 2. That is unacceptable. They head back to Philly for Game 3. Joel Embiid is there. How did Harden play? 38 minutes. 38 minutes in Game 3. He shot 4 of 11 from the field and gave you 17 points. That is not a good performance. However, they were able to win Game 3 thanks to the beautiful shooting performance by Danny Green as well as the return of Joel Embiid. Game 4. This right here was a glaring moment for James Harden in this series. In Game 4, in a tightly contested game, James Harden played 41 minutes. He was 8 of 18 from the field, which isn't great, but it's better than anything he's displayed so far. 8 of 18 from the field, and he had 31 points. He was 6 of 10 from the 3. And he closed that game down the stretch to help tie the series at 2 apiece. Everyone sat back and thought, finally, this is the James Harden we've been waiting for. This is the James Harden that needed to show up. You need James Harden to play like this if the Sixers are going to win this series. That's the James Harden you need to see. So in a crucial Game 5, going on the road after having the best performance of the series and arguably the best performance you had as a Sixer, how does James Harden respond? He plays 37 minutes in Game 5, shoots 5 of 13 from the field, and gives you 14 points in a game that they were blown out by 35 points. Now again, no one else really showed up in Game 5. I get it. But James Harden could have done something for you. I'm not going to hold him accountable for that one because, again, nobody showed up. However, tonight's performance, might have been the worst. And this was easily worse than anything he's done in the series so far. And he must be held accountable for this. In an elimination game, do or die, season on the line for your team in the playoffs, on the verge of elimination, James Harden plays for 43 minutes, as he should in an elimination game. He plays for 43 minutes. He shoots 4 of 9 from the field and gives you 11 points. James Harden, in an elimination game, shot the ball 9 times. 2 of those shots came in the second half of this game. The lead was 49-48 going into halftime. James Harden proceeded to do absolutely nothing for you in the second half of a game that was winnable. This guy has been an embarrassment for the Sixers team in the postseason. This guy, in this series, exposed himself severely. Philly, this was a mistake. That was the guy you chose to trade for. Really. You chose to give up the depth you had in an Andre Drummond and a Seth Curry to get this guy. I understand you wanted to get Ben Simmons out of there. It wasn't going to work out. I completely understand. But to trade for James Harden, was that really the best choice? Philly, that trade was a massive mistake. A complete and utter embarrassment. I don't even know what to say. James Harden, in the conference finals, or the semifinals, against the Miami Heat, he shot 40% from the field, 33% from 3, and gave you 18 points a game. That right there is unacceptable. This guy provided you with very, very, very poor performances for a guy of his stature. That was supposed to be the guy to hold down the fort if Joel Embiid was compromised, which he clearly was. He was supposed to step up, and he failed to do so. What made this worse was he actually stepped up in a game this series. He had 18 points in the fourth quarter of Game 4 to help tie this series. That was supposed to be the James Harden we saw in Game 5 and 6. He didn't show up. In an elimination game, James Harden plays 43 minutes and only puts up 9 shots. How embarrassing is that? Joel Embiid is falling all over the damn floor. He's injured left and right. He can barely walk properly. But he's putting up shots because he understands that you got to at least try. We got to put the effort up. Tyrese Maxey is hustling, trying to get rebounds and steals and make plays. But James Harden can't provide anything for you in the second half. Shake Milton came off the bench in the second half and was providing you with something you could use. James Harden did nothing. He responded with nothing. He looked like he didn't care. This is the guy Philly chose to bring here, and it's been a massive, massive mistake. James Harden did nothing for you. Nothing. You lost out on Seth Curry and Andre Drummond to get this guy. All because you wanted to get rid of Ben Simmons, which I totally understand. But to trade for this guy, that was a huge mistake. The James Harden trade was a massive mistake by the Sixers. And it looked like it cost them this series. Had you had a different superstar in this position, maybe you find a way to win this series. But with James Harden looking the way he's looked and playing the way he played in this series, that's bad. That's really bad. That's, in fact, unacceptable. There are 3 games I'll look at and say it was unacceptable play from him. Games 1, Games 2, and Game 6 tonight. Game 3 I can let slide They dominated Miami because Miami couldn't hit a shot worth a damn. But they won that by 20. Game 4, he actually stepped up and showed up, so I can give you that. And Game 5, nobody showed up, so I can accept that. But in Games 1 and 2, with the best player of your team, the leader of your team, out in Joel Embiid, you as a second best player was supposed to step up and try to help them win those games. And you did nothing for them. Absolutely nothing. 0 points in the second half from James Harden. What do you do with that? And tonight, 9 shots in 43 minutes from the second best player on your team, for the guy you brought here to hold down the fort and to come along with Joel Embiid. He gives you 9 points. Several Heat players outplayed this dude. Max Strus, over the last 2 games, outplayed James Harden. That's the guy you traded for, Philly. That's the guy you traded for. That trade was a massive mistake. And now you have to deal with the consequences. I wish you the best of luck. I don't know what you do with James Harden, but I wish you the best of luck. Because it looks like Philly is going nowhere fast. And you guys are in major, major trouble. Side note, I am so glad the Miami Heat did not come out here and actually trade for this dude. Because what was it, a year and a half ago? People were saying Miami should trade for James Harden if they want to compete. Yeah, Miami's not dumb. Do you not understand who James Harden is? Why would we do that? Why would we bring him here? So many people were saying Miami should pull the trigger. And I was like, that's stupid. No, I don't care how great of a player he is. No. He wouldn't work well in Miami. He wouldn't fit with Miami's culture. He wouldn't. So it would have been a dumb thing to bring that guy here. And I'm so glad Miami did not pull the trigger. Unfortunately, Philly did, and they're paying the price. But it is what it is at the end of the day. With that being said, Philly, best of luck to you. I'm out of here. Peace.